وعليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له: أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال: يا فاطمة إيتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به، وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافي عمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لواعي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وهامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يعلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا هرب لمن هاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماعا مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيعا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعند الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي أتعذن لي أن أحبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم قد أذنت لك. فحبت الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرعك السلام ويخصك بالتهية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماعا مبنيا ولا أرضا مدهيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيعا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثاني: يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله حما ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. سورة مباركة الفاتحة.
Let's all recite 5 times I am Mayujibal for all those who are in need of du'as here and all around the world. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ 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 أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ هو يكشف السوء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سورة مباركة الفاتحة. Alhamdulillah, on this blessed night, we are joined by Sayyid Muhammad Hassan al-Sharaf from Dearborn, Michigan. Let's all welcome him with a loud Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
This is for the speaker or the camera? They should have came, so. Yeah. Ameen wal mu'mineen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أفضل الذكر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا، العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد، حبيب إله العالمين أبا القاسم محمد، وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. My respected brothers and sisters, my fathers and mothers, those in attendance and online, I bestow to you all the warmest and happiest, festive of greetings on this joyous and celebratory day, the birth of our Master, our Imam, the greatest scholar after the Holy Prophet, humanitarian, symbol of peace and justice, virtue and strength. Thus greetings of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and Mubarakeen on the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Salamullahi alayh. It is convenient, and I would be remiss if I did not mention that we are gathered here in this alternative house of worship. For indeed, all the houses that call upon Allah, irrespective of their methodologies, be them temples that remember the name of Rabbul Alameen, or churches, or masajid, we give reverence, particularly to those that open their doors for the lovers to gather on such a day where it's very cold, albeit. A few people have already blamed me for bringing the cold from Michigan, or I don't know why. Cold, windy, stormy, wet, windy. Say that a few times quickly. But still, we found a location. And subhanAllah, how convenient that is. For it is none other than our leader and example, Imam Ali alayhi salam, who one day was walking among a number of his companions, as the hadith shows us, not one or two, but a few of them. And they all unfortunately carried a rather not progressive mindset and mentality when upon stumbling on a church. They found, and the hadith uses the term, kanisatun atiqa. It was a old, beat down church, kanisa. It was a church, but it was weathered and gone, probably abandoned. And we see many of these places, unfortunately, these days. And they looked at the church while gazing upon their leader and Khalifa at the time. Of course, he was always Khalifa day one. However, now he has the authority politically. And they said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Kam shurika Allahu fiha. How much was Allah disobeyed and disregarded and held with association among other deities inside that church? How much shirk basically was done in this church? Ya subhanallah, a negative mindset to have. To which our master and the king of generosity and forwardness said, Bal kam ubidallahu fiha. But rather, how much was Allah worshipped in it? The mindset of a follower of Ali is one that is a cup half full, not where people are putting others down as if you are perfect to begin with. Rather, even if there are shortcomings, even if people falter, at the very least, Allah is at least attempted, or someone is attempting to worship Rabbul Alameen. Rather think, how much was Allah worshipped? And today, we're definitely going to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For indeed, celebrating the days of Allah, Ayyamullah, and a day like the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen, indeed is among the greatest days of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be a day Allah will be worshipped indefinitely as well. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. It was on the 13th of the holy month of Rajab, approximately the year 600 of the common era of this current calendar, where we found the upright, God-fearing, pious lady by the name of As-Sayyida Fatima bintu Asad bin Hashim was feeling the pangs of childbirth kicking in. And only women and sisters and mothers can tell you how difficult that pain is. And when it comes in those moments, it is one where you begin feeling excruciating, gnashing pain. I remember we all read the ayah in Surah Maryam, where you had Lady Maryam alayha salam said, how I wish I have been dead before this moment. Of course, also anticipating the ridicule from society, but in addition to the pangs of that moment, Sayyida Fatima bint Asad, this noble lady was no exception. And of course, being the wife of the upright As-Sayyid Abu Talib Ridwanullahi alayh, she approached nowhere except the one place that gave her comfort to these pains. Which shows us, if ever you're struggling, be you expecting a child or expecting some sort of obstacle in your life, go to a place that brings you itmi'nan, tranquility. And what better place than the very house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? She approached the holy Kaaba at that time, with it being surrounded on top, around, and inside with idols. But despite that, the Kaaba does not become impure by rocks which are chiseled on it, around it. It doesn't matter. The Kaaba is pure from the day Ibrahim alayhi salam constructed and elevated it. She approaches the holy Kaaba. The following hadith is not a rogue narration, nor it is a random tradition, can be found in a multitude of narrations, but I will skip reporting them from our narrative, as we've all understood that the place where this amazing man would be born was none other than the Kaaba. However, many will antagonize this same point, that these are mere exaggerations. In order to elevate your point of view, you have to always bring him in a place where no one else was. And these are mere exaggerations, aren't they not? Let us present the other case. You can find this following narration as reported by Al-Abbas, the uncle of the Holy Prophet of Islam, in the following work, Al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain, the additional narrations upon the two Sahih books, Muslim and Bukhari, by Al-Hakim al-Naysapuri. He noticed that technically, based on the standards of Bukhari and Muslim, they have these following narrators considered reliable and trustworthy. They missed out on including the following ahadith. Therefore, I, Al-Hakim al-Naysapuri, this scholar at that time, will include them. Hence why it's called the additions upon the Sahihain. So basically, these ahadith, whatever has not been added but is found in this work, are sahih in their standard. And this, of course, is sahih in our standard. Sahih meaning authentic. It can be found in this work as reported by Al-Abbas, as we said. He says, I saw my cousin, she would be the cousin of Al-Abbas, she approached the Kaaba and we expected her, these days she was going to give birth, but not like this. She did something by Allah, we did not expect. She approached the Kaaba, number one, and she felt it was coming. It was not just kicking. I am waiting any moment now, and it is literally a life and death moment, especially back then. Hence why Islam elevates women who, when they suffer in this position so much that they actually lose their lives, Allah sees them as shuhada. It's not an easy task, subhanAllah. She raises her hands, Al-Abbas narrates, and she looks at the holy Kaaba. From the south part of the Kaaba, it's a description here, what is called Al-Rukn Al-Yamani, the southern corner of the Kaaba. You can still see the indications today. Look at the south part of the Kaaba, Al-Rukn Al-Yamani. That faces Yemen, obviously. And she raises her blessed hands. Al-Abbas says, we then memorized word by word what she said. She said the following: Allahumma inni mu'minatun bik wa bima ja'a min indik wa inni musaddiqatun bi kalami jaddi Ibrahim فبحق هذا البيت وبحق الذي بنى هذا البيت وبالمولود الذي في بطني إلا ما يسرت علي ولادتي. Oh Allah, I testify and bear witness that I am a firm believer in you. Look at the dua she is making. She's asking, Ya Allah, through the Kaaba, through I believe in my grandfather Ibrahim, as he was the one who built this exact Kaaba I am looking at. So therefore his sake, and for the Kaaba's sake, she's doing wasila here, subhanAllah. Intercession, you intercede, help me here. It's not easy. And one more, بِحَقِّ الْمَوْلُودَ الَّذِي فِي بَطْنِي, and on the sake, and for the sake, Ya Allah, of the infant that's in my stomach waiting, in my womb waiting to be born, ease my pains and labor right now. Notice the power of dua. You see, sometimes they say prayer can break walls. I've never seen a dua break the wall of the Kaaba. She says this, always make dua, by the way. No matter what trouble you go through, what problems you have, walls will shatter. If the wall of the Kaaba will shatter, if you intercede through the right people, your dua will be answered, inshaAllah ta'ala. No matter what difficulty you go through. Al-Abbas says, right then and there, that corner of the Kaaba split open suddenly. She then, with full confidence, walked right inside it. The Kaaba walls closed up immediately, and we were hysteric. Mecca, for the next 3 days, experienced what many might even call paranoia. This lady is not an ordinary lady. We've never seen her do sujood to an idol. She is an upright lady, and she is always talking and remembering only the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and now it's like she's trapped. What is she going to eat? She's in a sensitive position. She's expecting. We don't know what to do. They say they tried. They took rocks and hammers to break the walls of the Kaaba, but it didn't work. They brought the keys of the Kaaba from Abu Talib himself, because he was the custodian, and he managed the authority of the Kaaba, being the tribal chief at the time of Banu Hashim. It didn't work out. Nothing worked until Abu Talib said, let it be. If it was a miracle that the walls of the Kaaba open up, why are we getting in the way of a miracle? Let it run its course. I have full iman, a testimony to the iman of Abu Talib. How many of you would be comfortable seeing that your spouse would just vanish like that? I guess many might, but how many of you would have confidence that they're safe at the end of the day? Especially if it is like the relationship between Abu Talib and Sayyida Fatima bint Asad. Compare their interactions. It is very lovely and upright. Suddenly, on the fourth day, she's been in there for 3 nights. The fourth day, in the morning, Mecca surrounded the Kaaba. They were pretty much essentially about to bulldoze it, get her out. Suddenly, from the same area, the wall shattered open and split again. But this time, we remembered her entering the Kaaba as one, she leaves it as 2, holding a young infant, radiating and shining, كَأَنَّهُ الْبَدْرُ فِي لَيْلَةِ تَمَامِهِ وَكَمَالِ, as if he is a radiating, illuminating moon in its fullness and brightness and beauty. The crowd surrounded her. Look at the detail and description of this narration. encourage all of you to read back and look into it. The crowd surrounded her, and she is fine in a healthy state. She begins to say a few words. She says how honorable it is that when Maryam alayhi salam was going through the pangs of labor, Allah told her, shake the palm tree, then the dates will fall. But for me, Allah removed the wall of the Kaaba. How honorable it was that inside Maryam alayhi salam, by her mihrab, Allah sent her food down and announced to her through Jibreel that do not be afraid, you will be blessed with a child. But for me, it wasn't Jibreel. I didn't see an angel, but I heard the Jannah and heaven itself tell me that you will have a blessed birth. Suddenly, the crowd parts like this, magnetically, because someone is coming closer and walking to the doors of the Kaaba. And that person, they turn around. Abu Talib is standing by his wife. The family surrounding her. Finally, a sense of relief. And they see a 30-year-old Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam approach. Allah. Ya Ali. They ask her, Ya Fatima, what have you decided to name him? And she says, I will not name him before my husband decides. And then they asked him, Abu Talib, what have you decided? He said, I will not name him before my beloved Muhammad and my son decide. Sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. They approached Rasulullah and they said, O Prophet and Messenger of God, these were believers of Allah before Rasulullah's message became public. For they were on the way of Ibrahim, Hanif, believing in that monotheistic message, while the entirety of society was worshipping idolatry. Don't we say in the beautiful ziyarah, Inni ashhadu annaka kunta nuran fil aslab al-shamikha wal-arham al-mutahhara lam tunajjiska al-jahiliyatu bi-anjasiha. That I bear witness that you are from a line of wombs of women, one after the other, from generations a legacy, pure, purified. Never once did the impurities of ignorance affect you and impurify you. From the loins of men who are upright of Allah and the wombs of women that are pure, these are believers in Allah. And but many might say, no, they weren't. That's why many will say Abu Talib died a kafir. But I have a question. As Sayyidah Fatima bint Asad, she becomes Muslim, no one denies that. How does then Rasulullah allow Abu Talib to stay married with her? Because a kafir cannot marry a Muslimah. Why did he not divorce her? A testimony, in fact, to his and her iman from day number one. And we have narrations that from the disciples, the generational, not the direct, the generational disciples of Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus, son of Mary, alayhi wa alayha salam, Abu Talib was one of them. What was the major religion before Islam? The major one, the right monotheistic way of Christianity, not to be a pejorative as we are in a church or whatever, but we believe that there were beautiful messages from these messengers of God. Society has fabricated much in them, but nonetheless we learn from the greatest akhlaq of Ahlul Bayt that does not merit to put others down. Abu Talib says, and I will not name him before my beloved son and messenger Rasulullah. They asked him, what will you decide to name him in this case? They hand the young, unnamed child in the earth so far. He's been given a name in the Jannat. They hand him to Rasulullah. The hadith is beautiful. It mentions that as soon as the child, you could say day-old child, was given to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he instantly opened his eyes. The first thing his eyes see were the eyes of Rasulullah looking back at him. And if you remember, on the death of the Holy Prophet, the roles were reversed. Rasulullah is cradled in his hands. The last thing Rasulullah sees were the eyes of Amir al-Mu'mineen. But in this moment is different. The first thing the young infant sees when he opens his eyes, children take about 3 or so days, a couple days until they open their eyes. He instantly opened his eyes, were the eyes of Rasulullah, the Rahma lil Alameen. And he has said and announced, O man and womankind, Ya ayyuhan nas, not mu'mineen, muslimin, alladhina amanu, everyone, all of you. Ya ayyuhan nas, Indeed, Inna al-Aliyul A'la, the greatest and almighty Rabbul Alameen, has now informed me that today, let it be known, all together, let it be known, today we will be blessed and are blessed with the greatest of all, the second to come after me, my beloved and brother and helper, the successor, the one who will take my message. Today we are blessed with the birth of Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Amir al-Mu'mineen then is tenured throughout these years with the Holy Prophet of Islam. We have never seen a relationship like that of the Prophet and Ali, to the point where the Prophet would encourage others. He would say, Zayyinu, adorn and make beautiful. Zayyinu, majalisakum, beautify your majalis, wherever you're gathering, bidhikri Ali ibn Abi Talib. Make beautiful your majlis with the remembrance of Ali ibn Abi Talib. If he is not there in person, remember him suddenly, as much as you can. He would then encourage dhikru aliyin ibadah. Remembering Ali is a form of worship. Like we said in the beginning, what are we doing? Except worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He then adds, an-nadhar ila wajhi aliyin ibadah. Gazing on the face of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen is a beautiful form of worship and ibadah. That is why we adore this man. Not for throwing jabs at other people because they disagree with us. The only reason we show this much love and passion, compassion and emphasis is because of how much our Prophet did as well. Otherwise, to us is the fact that Rasulullah is sufficient. What he says we follow. And they came to the Imam alayhi salam. They said to him, Ya Ali, is there any difference between you and Muhammad? Because we see you one of the same. And of course, the Imam is humble, utmost humility. He says the following. Look how much the similitude is. From I, Ya Ali, am like the Musa to your Harun. Ya Ali, anta minni bimanzilati Haruna min Musa, illa anna la nabiyya min ba'di. Except there will be no prophet after me. And what did Musa say to Harun in the Quran? Remind me. It says, وَقَالَ Musa. Musa said what? لِأَخِيهِ هَارُونَ اخْلُفْنِي فِي قَوْمِي. O Musa, O Harun. Musa said to his brother Harun, Aaron, O Harun, be my Khalifa for my people in my absence. What did Rasulullah say with regards to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam? Ya Ali, anta minni bimanzilati Harun min Musa. But the only difference is Harun is a prophet. There will be no more prophets after me. For that exact reason, we were confused. Are you just the same as the Prophet, Ya Ali ibn Abi Talib? Look at his humility. He says, La. إنما أنا عبد إنما أنا عبد من عبيد محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. No. Rather, I am a slave from the slaves of Muhammad. Nothing more, nothing less. It's your honor to be called a khadim, inshallah. A servant of Ahlul Bayt. Nothing more, nothing less. Leave and save the accolades to the side. What matters in the eyes of Allah is how much did you give back in the way of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by Allah, no one gave back. To us, the answer is simple. We will respond clear, utterly and completely. Ubiquitously, completely, that Imam Ali, take it or leave it, is the second greatest creation after Rasulullah in this universe. That's it. It is no surprise that with all these lovely merits, from ilm, you go nowhere besides the Prophet to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Show me a man with the likeness where he can describe to you the knowledge, esoteric and enigmatic of the Quran, batini wa zahiri, like Ali ibn Abi Talib. Show me an individual who can open the heavens and its gates, for he is the gate to the city of knowledge, that is Amir al-Mu'mineen. And what did the Quran say again? about entering the residence of Allah. وَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا. Enter the homes through their doors. And what did Rasulullah say? That, Ya Ali, that, what is it? أَنَا مَدِينَةُ الْعِلْمِ وَعَلِيٌّ بَابُهَا فَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْمَدِينَةَ فَلْيَأْتِهَا مِنْ بَابِهَا. And I am the city of knowledge, and Ali is its gate. And whoever wants to get to the city must go through its gate. You want the knowledge of Islam, go through Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Many people. Allahu Akbar. Not to be a pejorative once more, but the fact stays true that when Rasulullah made clear that I want to give you guidance in my absence, therefore I leave behind for you the Quran and my Ahlul Bayt. It has never been reported any other way whatsoever, in one exception. We can look into that exception. But if you look at any work of narration, any narrative, any canonized text, whether you look at the Sihah of al-Muslim, of Bukhari, of Tirmidhi, it all says Quran and Ahlul Bayt, of Nasa'i, of Ibn Majah, of Buruj al-Dhahab lil-Mas'udi. You got extra ahadith material books. The Sihah al-Sitta, all of them said, إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ مَا إِن تَمَسَّكْتُم بِهِمَا لَن تَضِلُّوا بَعْدِي أَبَدًا كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَعِتْرَةِ أَهْلَ بَيْتِ. But the whole world today, 3/4 of the Muslim world, will confidently announce that it is the Quran and the Sunnah. There is no issue with the Quran and the Sunnah. But where do you get your Sunnah from? And if being Sunni means to follow the exact, to the teeth, teachings of Rasulullah, then Imam Ali was the biggest Sunni. And if being Shi'i means that you are a follower, lover of Imam Ali, then Rasulullah Muhammad was the biggest Shi'i. It is no surprise throughout all these reasons that the lifestyle living by the tenets of Amir al-Mu'mineen, ultimately getting you back to Rasulullah. Look, to be honest, we're all trying to get to the same goal. Our goal is Jannah, inshallah. And we're all looking at the same thing, but many people have different telescopes than you do. Some have 150 zoom, but yours, inshallah, has 1000 zoom. And you're looking at it from different angles, but we're all trying to attain the same exact thing. Go through the lens that is Amir al-Mu'mineen. You know what? Forget it. Blur everything. Be like a camera. Focus on Ali. He will take you to Rasulullah. That is why when we found Amir al-Mu'mineen finally active in his political role, his right was usurped, but he was always to us Khalifa day number one. Because honestly, let us put the argument to rest. We just said, with ilm, go to Ali. With knowledge of the Quran, who? Go to Ali. With the Kaaba and its being honored to have the mawlud inside it, not other way around. The Kaaba is muqaddisa, is sanctified. But how many times has the Kaaba been hit? Once by Yazid ibn Muawiyah, la'natullahi alayh. The second by Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf al-Thaqafi, catapulted. We've seen it before, but they can rebuild it. But an ummah that loses Ali can never replace him. With respect to the Kaaba, you go no further than Ali ibn Abi Talib. But you proceed from that. We believe that the first Muslim, besides Sayyidah Khadija, but the first Muslim, not Muslimah, Muslim, with respect to imamah and leadership, Ali. With respect to the haqq, because he said it clear, that he is with it and it is with him. Al-haqqu ma'a Ali, wa aliyun ma'a al-haqq, Ali. With respect to the masjid of Rasulullah, he says, close all the doors, but leave the door one open, and that is the door of Ali. And he would say loud and clear that he is my successor, he is my wasi, he is Ali. With respect to him being known as his brother, my akhi is with respect to the battle of Badr, the one champion that saved that day was none other than Ali. On the day of Uhud, when all of them ran, but only a few stayed, the number one at the head of it was none other than Ali. On the day of Khandaq, when they dug that ditch around the city, all of them emerged, then they cowered away, seeing the might of Amr ibn Wadd al-Amili, and they said, who can face him? Rasulullah looked at Amir al-Mu'mineen and he said, I want to go. Rasulullah says, Innahu Amr, it's the size of like a bear of a man, subhanallah. And he looked at him and he said, Wa ana Ali, and I don't care. And he emerged. What did Rasulullah say? Baraz al-Iman kullah ila al-shirki kullah. All of Iman has now been sent to face all of kufr. All of Iman became Ali. Then we look at the day of Hunayn, when the Quran says, ثُمَّ وَلَّيْتُمْ مُدْبِرِينَ, how the walls caved in on you. You begin to run, and you left him with just 8, the Prophet, and 8 others. The first of those 8 was none other than, on the day of Hunayn, Ali. On the day of Jamal, when the munafiqun were raised in the Quran, only one man had bravery to stand and face them, none other than Ali. On the day of Siffin, it was a tumultuous day, but the man still emerged loud and clear with the truth on his side. Ali. On the day of Mubahala, we found he only decided to pick 4: Hassan, Hussein, Fatima, and Ali. We saw on the day of Ghadir roaring like a lion, raising his hand, that man kuntu mawla fahadha Aliyun mawla. He looked at him and he said that you are myself, innaka nafsi allati bayna janbay, between my own face right here, you are myself. Ya Ali, with the knowledge that was bestowed upon him through the Quran, through its tafsir, through its ta'wil, none came near him after Rasulullah, then Ali, and only one allowed and eligible, qualified, perfect candidate for Fatima came out. Who was it? Ali. And the man till this day, he is Amir. Who? But we can call him Khalifa number 4 all you want. He remains number 1, Ali ibn Abi Talib. And for these merits, I am not surprised that the biggest humanitarian was Amir al-Mu'mineen. It is mentioned in the works of Al-Waqidi and the material of Muruj al-Dhahab that when Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen was Khalifa, he completely obliviated anything known as poverty. They would say that كنا تحت خلافة علي نأكل البر. We used to eat whole grain bread. Yani everyone had food. In the Islamic Caliphate, no one was starving under the eyes of Amir al-Mu'mineen. وَيُنَامُونَ فِي الظِّلِّ. And we would sleep under shade, meaning everyone had something to sleep under. People didn't see themselves homeless any longer. And this is, by the way, in what? A period of 4 years with 3 civil wars. How can you manage economic equality like that and equity? And then he ends it, وَيَشْرَبُونَ مَاءَ الْفُرَاتِ. And everyone would drink the water from the Furat. Meaning what? Everyone had water, food, and shelter. Everyone, Muslim and non, because these are human rights. That is why the biggest humanitarian is Amir al-Mu'mineen. They would then say that Imam Ali ordered, and I'll wrap up with this, ordered his servants to go and scatter wheat and barley seeds, over the hilltops and the highest hilltops they can find. They said, why? Is that a little bit of a waste? He would reply, so that the person who passes by the Islamic kingdoms will see that not even the birds went hungry under the rule of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And that is why I'm no surprise that the former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan, in 1999, you can revisit his speech on the UN website. Kofi Annan, he passed away, and he mentions in a speech lecture he gave in the University of Tehran, he says that I encourage all the rulers of this world today, from their presidents to their prime ministers, to take the example of the greatest humanitarian I have seen to have walked this earth, of Ali ibn Abi Talib. For I have not seen a letter like his letter in the Nahj of Sharif al-Radhi, Nahj al-Balagha, when he sends that letter saying, "O Malik," to his companion, "understand, اعلم أن الناس صنفان," that people are two types in this world. This is all human beings are. Don't hate others, don't fight. People are two types. إِمَّا أَخٌ لَكَ فِي الدِّينِ. Rather, they are your brothers in religion. If they share the same religion, we are all brothers and sisters. And if they don't share your religion, do you hate them and kill them? No. أَوْ نَظِيرٌ لَكَ فِي الْخَلْقِ. Or your equals in humanity. If they have a heart, then you have a heart. They're a kafir, fine. But understand, everyone deserves dignity and justice. And under the watchful eyes of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and I'll conclude with this one, it is mentioned that the animals in that time, Imam Ali took the stray dogs. Read Maruj al-Dhahab ibn Mas'udi. Read al-Waqidi's Tabaqat ibn Sa'ad as well. They would say he gathered stray dogs and he made sure they would stay in an area. The biggest heart is the heart of Amir al-Mu'mineen. That not even strays were a thing. It was a thing of the past. And that is why the greatest soldier on the field had the tender heart. Like a mother, when it came to the orphans, you find no one got the title Abal Yatama, the father of the orphans. Today is a day, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, we honor you as much as we can, as much as we should. Because brothers and sisters, wallah, if we just know an inch, an iota of the magnitude that is the greatness of Amir al-Mu'mineen, we would hold on to him and never let go. It is interesting, and these are my final words, I promise this time, that the Lebanese Christian, George Jordak, how can you, when you love Imam Ali, you want to stop talking about him? But I don't want to get in trouble. George Jordak, Lebanese Christian, writes a book called Sawtul Adala al-Insaniya, the voice of human justice. Underline Ali ibn Abi Talib. What does he mention beautifully? He says one day, this great legend was tying his shoe that had snapped, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, probably during one of the wars and the civil wars that he saw. So he was fixing his shoe. His cousin Ibn Abbas came up to him. And Imam Ali looked at him and he says, Ya Ibn Abbas, what do you think is the value of this shoe if I decide to sell it right now? Ibn Abbas looked at it. George Jordak mentions this, not a Muslim at all. He's like, this hadith bothered me. Because Ibn Abbas looks at Ali and he's like, you know, it's ripped up. You're trying to fix it. It's a sandal anyways. One of them is broken. The other one is fine. Honestly, Ya Ali, I would say 1 dirham. You know what? After some thought, nothing. It's worthless. It's ripped. Imam Ali then said, that is exactly how much I value khilafah, in the form of me just getting power and authority and luxury. Rather, I take it because it is a way to get back to Allah and instill Allah's justice on earth. But I don't care about royalty. That's how much this has value in my eyes. George Jordak mentions, he died in the 20th century, that I disagree with Ibn Abbas here. He's like, who am I? Christian, I'm not Muslim, but I disagree with Ibn Abbas. Because what did Ibn Abbas say to Imam Ali? That your sandal has no value because it's ripped and all these other excuses. He's like, how could he say the sandal of Ali has no value? Wallah, even the snapped sandal of Ali has so much more value than the crown of King Louis at the time with all of its gems. Ali is a man none can compare to, and that is why I am no surprise that a man like him, many called him God. I wonder how amazing of a God that the God of Ali is worshipping, if he was called Allah, such that he would have to tell them, stop. And Rasulullah would say, Ya Ali, I fear that if I continue to praise you, then people will erect churches in your name like they did for Isa ibn Maryam, and they would begin to call you God like they did with Isa ibn Maryam. There are things in this world we can't talk about. But let me keep it quiet, but those who know will understand you're right. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina wa Habibi qulubina wa Amir al-Mu'mineen. Rasulullah wa Khalifahu Amir al-Mu'mineen. Asadullah al-Ghalib. Ghalib kulla Ghalib. Ali ibn Abi Talib. Salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك بحق هذا اليوم المبارك. Oh Allah, we ask you on this beautiful blessed day, the birth of our Imam, ارزقنا زيارة علي بن أبي طالب في الدنيا. اللهم ارزقنا شفاعته في الآخرة. Oh Allah, we ask you to grant us his intercession in the afterlife. Allah, make us better people in the way of Imam Ali through humanitarianism and ilm and peace and knowledge and love and wisdom. Oh Allah, we ask you to allow our children to grow up loving the name Ali ibn Abi Talib. Oh Allah, we ask you to never separate from us the love of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam in this lifetime or in the afterlife. Oh Allah, we ask you for his sake to heal all those who are sick, to grant us our hajat, and to bless our marhumeen and those who are not here in attendance. Wa akhiru da'wana, and the last of our du'as, wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Sayyid Muhammad Hassan, my respected elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. It's a grand occasion. It's good to see everybody. It's been a while since, again, these occasions that we all gather in mass like this is few and far between. But alhamdulillah, it's good to see everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. And on behalf of the entire management committee, on behalf of all of us, we wish you and your respected families a blessed Kushali Mubarak. First, I'd like to welcome Sayyid Muhammad. Sayyid Muhammad, you are a dear friend of this community. You spent a lot of time with us here last year and have joined us on many occasions. Always good to see you, and again, hope we continue on the journey and learning through your wonderful lectures. A couple of announcements. The Sufro for Imam Jafar Sadiq will be held on February 12th. Because it is another event that day, I think we're referring to this as the Sufra Bowl. I did get a lot of calls. Unfortunately, I know it's a lot of people will be participating in this. We moved the time to the afternoon. It'll be at 3 p.m. And we'll have everybody home in time for their game. And we're not rooting for the one team, but I won't say anything. All right, the other thing we have coming up, a couple of events. We have, during the 3 Shaban Kushalis, we have Sayyid Asad Jafri. Many of you are familiar with him. One of the more popular lectures out there right now. We're blessed to have him here for the 3 Shaban Kushalis, and he'll be running a workshop. It's actually a course, not a workshop, it's a course. 2 days, it's called Renew the Self. This has been held in other communities, and we're going to be doing this here. It's a 10-hour course. It'll be spread out over the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. The registration for that event will begin tomorrow. The cost is $50 per person. We have limited seating, so when you get the announcement, please do register fast. This is a very, very beneficial course. We've gone through a lot these last few years with COVID and other things, and I think this is a good course to kind of reconnect with our spirituality. And this course, and Sayyid Asad Jafri will guide you through that, through those 2 days. So again, those will be held on February 25th and 26th, I believe that's Saturday and Sunday. And please do register. I know some parents have young children. Similar to what we did with the parenting workshop a few weeks ago, we will try to have childcare available, so there should be no reason for people not to be able to attend. We'll have some volunteers that'll be here taking care of the kids throughout those events, both days, in the gymnasium and the classroom. So again, please do register. And it's open for anybody ages 14 and up. We have tonight, in addition to being the Wiladat of Imam Ali, today is also known as the Islamic Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all our our family heroes. As well, there was a fundraiser for the ladies who were running for chocolates. If you did order your chocolates, please be sure to stop by the tables right outside these doors to pick them up. And then join us after the event tonight downstairs in the gymnasium for a reception or celebration reception downstairs. Join us for some tea and for desserts. Couple of other reminders. The annual membership dues are now due. $350. We did not raise the rate. It will stay the same. We'll be discussing that at the upcoming AGM, which will be in a few months. We're a little bit, again, delayed this year because of the accounts don't get done in the time that we need it to be done as well. With the changes that we've had with certain things that have to be accounted for, like a building, which we no longer have. So there'll be a little bit more complications this year with our accounts, but we'll announce that soon. We do have a special general meeting, which I'll talk about shortly, coming up on February 11th. And we are all asking all the community members to please attend. This is a very, very important meeting that we're having on February 11th. The meeting is for one of the main priorities that I announced at the last AGM, and that's our number one priority, and that's in bringing in a resident scholar, resident alim. All right, so we've been working on this for quite some time. We do have a resident alim committee that's been very influential in terms of sitting down with the alims, helping us identify, making sure that we do have the right candidate. It's a representation of our community, and as well, something different because it's not been done here before, right? This is really something as bottom up, right? That means all of us have a voice, all of us say this is going to be our resident alim. We're not just rebuilding a building, we're rebuilding our community. We're going through what I'm referring to as a renaissance, a rebirth of sorts. And it starts with the foundation, and that's right here, what happens here from this pulpit. Not me speaking. These are the scholars that we bring in, and fundamentally to have a resident alim, especially for a community our size, is and has to be our highest priority. So with that, what I'd like to do this evening is I'd like to call up the members of the Resident Alim Committee. I'm going to name them, if you can please join up front. And then we have two of our representatives, our younger representatives of this committee that are going to address the community and talk about what we'll be doing on February 11th. So I'd like to start off by calling the brothers, Brother Amir Famili, Brother Muhammad Raza Raj Muhammad, Brother Arif Sunasra, and Brother Suhail Rahim. And then our sisters, Sister Anri Bai Musa, Sister Kausar Jaffer, and unfortunately she's not able to join us tonight, but the other member of that team, the last member of the team is Sister Fatima Huda Karmali. So as they're making their way, please give them a loud salawat. First bus?
Actually, you go first.
Yeah. Ladies first. Good job. Good man, how are you? So,
I'd like to wish you Wiladat. Today, we're here to share with you a special project that we've been honored to be a part of, the Alim Subcommittee.
So what is the Alim Subcommittee? Who is part of it? And why was this group put together?
The Alim Subcommittee is an independent team comprised of individuals from different sections of the community in the hopes of representing the voice of the Jamaat in its entirety. The subcommittee is made up of families, the goal of this committee is to be a buffer between the Alim and the American community to ensure that any future resident Alim has the tools, support, space they need to help take our community to the next level with the ability to interject if there are any crossroads were to appear.
Last month, we had the privilege of hosting Sheikh Muhammad al-Sadi and Ustada Zahra Hamka, along with their three sons. The committee was able to meet with them in their short trip, and we were able to assess the goals of the potential resident alim versus the needs of our community.
So we'll be hosting a special general meeting next Saturday, February 11th at 7 p.m., inshallah, to give more insight as to how our conversation with Sheikh Mohammed Asadi and Ustad Zahra Hamka went, share the various ideas and vision the Sheikh has for the Jamaat, as well as the financial commitment necessary. On behalf of the Alim subcommittee, we strongly feel a resident Alim would be a great asset to our community, benefiting not just the youth and children, but the parents and elders as well.
With that being said, the decision to bring on a resident Alim is not our decision. It's up to all of you. Hence, we not only invite you all to attend this meeting, but we strongly encourage you to come and discuss the future of our community. It's no secret that our community has taken some steps back, and it's time that we all come together and reverse this in a positive direction. We strongly believe that bringing on a resident Alim will help steer us in the right direction. With the overly liberal society that we're living in today, it is vital for parents and kids in our community to have the resources on hand to help deal with various issues that occur. For me, as a new father with a fresh perspective, the parenting session that was held was a real eye-opener as to the different social pressures our kids are facing in their schools. And it's very different than the pressures that I was facing in the same schools not very long ago.
It is important we start developing the structure and resources to deal with these issues, and all that starts with attaining a resident Alim. We humbly ask you all once again to attend this meeting on February 11th.
If you're an elder, we're looking for your wisdom. If you're a youth, we're looking for your innovation. If you're a mother or father who wants what's best for your kids, we want you there. We're calling the members and the non-members. We want the voice of the whole community there. That being said, if there's anything that we can do to maximize attendance of this meeting, we want to break all records. So please let us know what we can do, and we'll make sure to make it happen. Even if it's having our president, Amin, dress up in an Eagles jersey for this meeting. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Salam Muhammad wa Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, तो आई देगा कोई चीख चीख कर एक दिन खिलाफ दीन नहीं है अली अली कहना वो अपनी माँ की शिकायत करेगा महशर में कि उसने क्यों ने सिखाया अली अली कहना अली अली कहना जान फिदा है दरी या अली 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 जानम फिदा है दरी या अली 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 है मोहम्मद मेरा दिल तो सीना अली मेरे जीने का वाहिद करीना अली दीन इस्लाम का है नगीना अली हक की मंजिल का पहला है जीना अली दश्त में अब्र का पहला कतरा تیرا علی میرا مرشد بھی آقا بے مولا علی علی مولا علی ہر سو صدا ہے دری یا علی 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 جانا فدا ہے دری یا علی 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 صبح سے شام تک ہر پہ ہر گھڑی لب پہ اپنے رہے نعرہ حیدری یعنی خیبر شکن یعنی مشکل کشا بعد یزدا کے دوسرا آسرا میں مصیبت میں اب کیوں پریشان رہوں غم کے مارو کا ہے تو سہارا علی علی مولا علی رمز بقائے ہاشمی یا علی 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 جانم فدا ہے دری یا علی 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 جانم فدا ہے دری یا علی 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 صلوات
محمد وآل محمد صلوات
يا علي أفضل الصلاة محمد وآل محمد علي علي مولا علي علي مولا علي علي مولا حیدر مولا علي علي مولا علي علي مولا علي علي مولا حیدر مولا علي علي مولا علي علي مولا علي علي مولا حیدر مولا چاروں طرف مدحت کی فضائے آؤ زمانے بر کو سجائے آج ظہور ہے مولا علی کا کیوں نہ خوشی میں نعرہ لگائے وجد میں آ کر نعرہ لگایا وجد میں یا علی وجد میں آ کر نعرہ لگایا علی علی مولا حیدر مولا علی علی مولا علی علی مولا حیدر مولا علی 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 مولا علی علی Naturally I will start with the Most High. Naturally I will start with the Most High. Lord of the seas, Lord of the seven skies. Peace on Muhammad and salutations. Congratulations on this occasion. After Muhammad, who is your master? After Muhammad, who is your master? Ali Ali Mawla Haidar Mawla Ali 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 Mawla Ali Ali Mawla Haidar Mawla Ali Ali हैदर मौला तेरा रजब की बज़्म सजाई खूब हुई फिर मदह सराय इश्क तेरा दरवेश बनाए इश्क तेरा बख्शे दानाए खूब विला का जाम पिया था खूब विला का जाम पिया था फिर भी नशे में मैं नहीं डोला अली अली मौला अली अली मौला हैदर मौला अली 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 Nasibi, I have a sincere question. Nasibi, I have a sincere question. Since when was God's choice and election? From Adam to the best of creation. From Adam to the best of creation, revelation after revelation. I'm the rejector, you're the elector. I'm the rejector, you're the elector. Guess on the Kawthar, who's giving water? Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Haidar Mawla, Ali Ali. Ali Ali Ya Ali झूठ खुदा ओ वालो आओ झूठ खुदा वो को ले जाओ आ गए घर का मालिक देखो अपनी दुका कहीं और लगाओ आ गई अंदर मादर हैदर आ गई अंदर मादर हैदर झूम के काबा फिर यही बोला अली अली Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Haidar Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Haidar Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla. Ali Shah, Ali Ma, Ali Ra, Ali Shah, Ali Ma, Ali Ra, Ali Dam. علي نصر من الله علي زمزم يا هرد العوقة علي حسن حسيناس علي أين يقيناس علي هبل متيناس بكورية بششم دشمنانش فقط هيدر أمير المؤمنين فقط هيدر أمير المؤمنين فقط هيدر أمير المؤمنين فقط هيدر أمير فقط هيدر أمير المؤمنين صلوات
محمد وآل محمد صلوات
Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. It's quite late and inshallah I will keep it short, but before I start, I feel like after hearing the young brothers, it's time for people like me to retire. So give them a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Wajal faraj. I know everybody's tired, but I'd like to just gauge the energy. Depending on the energy, then I'll decide what to recite, inshallah. So with me, Nara Takbir. Yeah. Last time I recited something in English and a lot of people enjoyed it, so I will start with my favorite English poem. And before I came here, there were literally 5 messages with 5 requests. So I'll recite one line each and inshallah I'll finish. A loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The title of this poem is, O Ali, who are you to me? It's written by Brother Tahir Adil. Again, O Ali, who are you to me? O Ali, who are you to me that I call myself your Shi'i, that I'll skip oceans like puddles and make nothing of sea? Oh, how soft you drive my heart to be. But O Ali, who are you to me? But O Ali, who are you to me that I'd gift every string of my soul, every strand I'd give up what I have and all that's planned. I'd break my heart from stone to sand, so soft I'd break it under your command, as soft as a petal inside your hand. But O Ali, who are you to me? But O Ali, who are you to me? Am I not your bird that daily sings and flies your names with my silken wings? Am I not your wind that blows and brings? Am I not all these things? But O Ali, who are you to me? But O Ali, who are you to me? The truth, you are the gravity. You're my logic, yet insanity. You're the atom in this heart cavity. You're the human in humanity, yet an angel in my heart's calamity. But O Ali, who are you to me? Are you ready? But O Ali, who are you to me? You're the solver of my equations. You're the riser to my heart's occasions. You're my escape from this world, my evasions. You're the words that act as my persuasions. You, Ali, are my heart's invasion. But O Ali, who are you to me? But O Ali, but O Ali, who are you to me? You unravel the mystery of my spiral genetics. To the heart's wound, you are its anesthetic. You're the inspiration to love and poetics. You're the digits of humility and bravery's alphabetic. You're the prophecy by the prophet's own prophetics. But O Ali, who are you to me? But O Ali, who are you to me? Listen carefully. But O Ali, who are you to me? You're the A and you're the L to my eyes' contractions. You're the reason for my current actions. You're the sound followed by no distractions. You're the story written within my heart like factions. You're its corners drenched by your paint like holy abstractions. But O Ali, who are you to me? But O Ali, who are you to me? You're the name that saves us from ourselves, giving comfort and protection within our shells. You're the start of a never-ending 12. You're Muhammad's name that's near and far. You're his commandeering star from time's first breath to its breathless end. Now, do I still ask who you are? Now, do I still ask who you are? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Haidar, 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 Haidar. Sher Khuda damad payambar. Haidar, 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 Haidar. Sher Khuda. Haidar, 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 Sher Khuda damad payambar. Dar Haidar, Saki-e Kausar, Shafa-e Mahshar. Haidar, 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 Haidar. Haidar, bol na maine jab sikha tha. मान मेरी ये मुझसे कहा था, बोलना मैंने जब सीखा था, मान मेरी ये मुझसे कहा था। बोलो बेटा जान लगा कर, हैदर हैदर। बोलो बेटा जान लगा कर, डूबने वाली थी जो वो कश्ती, नूह ने आखिर किसको सदा दी। डूबने वाली تھی جو وہ کشتی نوح نے آخر کس کو صدا تھی بس یہ صدا تھی نوح کے لب پر حیدر حیدر بس یہ صدا تھی نوح کے لب پر مسرت میرے علی کا قصیدہ جو ہی گنگنایا. This is a very old one, everybody knows this. مسرت میرے علی کا قصیدہ جو ہی گنگنایا جو ہی گنگنایا مسلح پہ میرے علی کا قصیدہ جو ہی گنگنایا سویرے 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 خدا کی قسم پھر عبادت کا مجھ کو بڑا لطف آیا بڑا لطف آیا. ہے مرضی حسنین مرضی خدا کی ابھی سید آگے لبوں پر دعا تھی لبوں پر دعا تھی لبوں پر دعا تھی لباس جنان لے کے رضوان جنت نے در کھٹ کھٹایا سویرے مسلح پہ میرے جو ہی گنگنایا. We recited it so well, so it wants me to it made me recite once more. جو ہی گنگنایا جانم فدائے حیدری یا علی louder louder جانم فدائے حیدری علی علی جانم فدائے حیدری علی صبح سے شام تک ہر پہر ہر گھڑی لب پہ اپنے رہے نعرہ حیدری یعنی خیبر شکن یعنی مشکل کشا باد ازدا کے دوسرا آسرا میں مصیبت میں اب کیوں پریشان رہوں غم کے ماروں کا ہے تو سہارا علی علی مولا علی رمز بقائے ہاشمی رمز بقائے ہاشمی علی علی جانم فدائے حیدری رہے ورد زبان شیعہ دلی رہے ورد زبان پر مشکل تو کہہ دو مدد یا علی یا علی المدد یا علی یا علی علی المدد یا علی یا علی المدد المدد یا علی ٹھیک ہے یا علی یا علی Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali. I'm almost done together. Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali. Ilahi واسطہ تجھ کو محمد مصطفیٰ کا الہی واسطہ تجھ کو لیے مرتضیٰ کا الہی واسطہ تجھ کو حسنین کا اور فاطمہ کا رہے ایمان ہمارا سلامت صدا مومنوں کو نہ ہو کوئی رنج و بلا پڑے مشکل تو کیا ہے یا علی رہے دے زبان شیعہ بڑے مشکل تو کہ علی کے نام سے دونوں جہاں میں عزت ہے علی کا ذکر ہے اللہ کی اطاعت ہے علی کے نام سے غمگین دل کو فرحت ہے کرو رب سے دعا تو بنا میں علی ہوگی حاجت روا تو بنا میں علی پر کہہ دو مدد علی رہے شیعہ نادے علی پر مشک دو مدد everybody together یا علی یا علی المدد یا علی یا علی یا المدد یا علی صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد الہی و بیمار داشتے بلا جلد پا امام زمان سے دے تو امان رہو بالی قبر سے کہہ کہ ہم یا علی احمد و علی شبیر شبیر سے لے صلوات hold it back because it doesn't go together.
آگے اس بار
امام زمان فرماؤ
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا حسين شهيد بكربلاء. السلام عليكم جميعا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولى وابن مولى. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء السلطان أبو الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان الأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Just a reminder for everyone to please head downstairs to the gym for the next program.